button. Push the goddamn button.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me they're tired as a friend on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed, begging the generations remember our story.
Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. It's good to be here. I hope all is well with y'all this morning, man. Thoughts and prayers go out to the families out there, man, who had that tragic shooting at the beach. Let me get my colors right. Hold on a minute. I hope y'all staying warm and bundled. Shout out to my poets, content creators, all of y'all, man. Sydney, Rob, the whole crew. Salutes to y'all. Salutes to the people who's been showing up and supporting the channel. You know what I'm saying? Look, you see the screen. Normally, I just wait before I bring it up, but I want to just go ahead and cut straight to the point, man. The thing that's interesting about this is we can do whatever we want until double standards come into the argument. And then that's where everybody is kind of picking sides and trying to dissect one argument over the other when it comes to morality and things of that nature. She kind of exposes a lot of women for how they really move and operate. Now, it's not all of y'all. It's a select few, but it's a large majority that think and act just like this, but they'll never come out and be truthful or forthcoming about that. That being said, let me go ahead and roll this clip real quick. It's not very long, just long enough for you to get where we're going with this.
I'd be like, oh, I fucked 2 niggas in a month, and that was my whole phase. Girl, I fucked like 20 niggas in a month.
Shit. The fuck?
That's nothing. We used to fuck 2 niggas in a day. Like, what you mean 2 niggas in a month with your whole face?
Nasty bitch.
Y'all be like, oh, I fucked 2 niggas in a month, and that was my.
Now, if it don't apply, you know the slogan. It shouldn't really bother you. This doesn't apply to you at all. But a lot of you, oh yeah, a lot of y'all, you just like her. Just like her. But you'll never own up to it. See, it's one thing when you're being forthcoming and completely transparent about who you are, then you're transparent in your identity. You're not fearful of losing people. You don't care about the ramifications behind your choices and decisions. You stand on all 10. And if you out here being in the street and that was your history, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Like if you come to me and you're just saying, look, all right, this is what it was. And I went through some things and I made some choices. It changed me for the better and worse. I can't take back what I did. I wanted to live that lifestyle. That's just what I wanted to do. And I want you to have the option to decide if this is where I want to be at or if we just aren't the best fit for each other. I could respect that. But what I don't honor is adults who say they're adults, but when it's time to be an adult, you revert to being 5 years old. Gaslighting, over talking, arguing, unnecessary jargon in exchange for trying to supplement for the fact that you were a hoe, essentially. You allowed multiple people to enter in and out of your orifices. You made horrible decisions in your dating life. And then the older you got, you realize that all the torment and the mental anguish that you would go through would ultimately turn you into a shell of your former self, forcing you to go through a season of change and self-reflection that is uncomfortable for most people. And now, at the tender age of 30 and up, you expect not to be criticized or judged. 734, blessings to you. At the tender age of 30 and up, after you have, like most adults, have gone out here and explored, you wanted to experience different personalities, you wanted to see the world, you wanted to exercise in your flesh how you see fit. You're entitled to. Everybody's entitled to how they decide they want to do these things out here. You then proceed to create these narratives and these walls that are supposed to protect you from being judged according to your own actions. Coach, I see you in the building, bro. Hold up a second. Let me get him up here, man. What's good, bro? You good? Can't hear you straight. Oh, no, you on mute. You on mute. All right. I don't think you even got a chance to see the video. So this is what I'm gonna do for the people who are just pulling up in the stream. I'm gonna bring it back up here, and I'll give a quick recap of where I was, but yeah, this particular video, just for those who are not familiar, it's a young lady who opens up about her promiscuous past compared to another person who I guess made a comment. Here it is, right here. Let's see. Let me unmute that, bring it back up here. And I want to get your thoughts on it real quick too. Hold on a second. All right. I'm gonna let it play all the way through. It's not very long.
Fuck 2 niggas in a month, and that was my hell phase, girl. I fucked like 20 niggas in a month.
Shit. The fuck?
That's nothing. We used to fuck 2 niggas in a day. Like, what you mean 2 niggas in a month with your whole face?
Nasty bitch.
Y'all be like, oh, I fucked 2 niggas in a month, and that was my hell.
That's the clip. It wasn't a very long one. I did a short on it. I never actually broke it down or got there. So where I left off was saying, you know, everybody has their own right to live how they want to live, you know, but when you hit a certain age and then you start trying to have these conversations about how nobody should judge you on your past, or you try to put up this front as if you this goody two shoe or you didn't have anything that negatively impacted you, that's where I have a problem with. So based on the video itself, man, what's your take? What's your initial thoughts? You still I can't you're not on mute, but I can't get no audio from you. I don't know why.
I don't know.
There you go. I hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say your past is your past, like you said, but I think it's in the delivery. It seems to be a lot of ego in there. You know, kind of. I mean, she's owning it, but again, I think it's all in the delivery about how she's talking about it and how she's you know, carried it on to everybody else.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that she was being honest about it. But here's the thing. I would rather you tell me the truth than to sit up here in my face and act like you ain't never did nothing. Because I can listen to the way you talk and how you move, and I can tell you done went through some shit. Now, the reason why I'm concerned is because, my nigga, I'm laying next to you, or you are somebody that I might end up sharing DNA with in the future. I need to know what I'm getting myself into. Don't just walk into my life showing interest in me, but you snappy, you're paranoid, you're jealous, you have traumas that you've never healed from, and all these other things, and you telling me that your past don't matter. Her clip was to say that a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you are just like her, but you pretend like you're not. And there's no shame in being honest about who you were once upon a time, because we all have a past. So what's the purpose of lying about who you are unless you really feel like you need to? That's what this topic is about.
No, I get it. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have to lie about your past, but if you're gonna embrace it and talk about it like that, I think uh, she probably need to embrace the why as well. I mean, because there's obviously some going on that you just feel like you have to brag about. Having sex with that many people in one day. I mean, last time I checked, you're not necessarily winning no awards about it, but you know, I was just trying to understand the mindset behind it. I guess be honest, but okay, now what? You know what I mean? How does that? What's the intangibles on it? I mean, you might be gifted in some areas, which I'm sure people would appreciate, but now what?
Yeah, that came off as like she was being braggadocious.
Right.
Like, oh, I fucked more people than you. I sucked more penises than you. Ha ha. Jokes on you. That's not a flex. That ain't nothing to be proud of. And then, like, I look at that. I'm listening to how she's speaking. The fact that you're on camera doing this, is this for clickbait? Is this to get people to start a conversation under your profile, to come view your profile and see what else you got going on over there? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not mad at her being honest about it. I think more people should be honest about their history. Stop denying people the rights to decide if they want to continue on with you or not. But also stop pretending as if you're not lustful or you don't have the same type of carnal desires that other human beings do. I mean, history has proven over generations that you're no different than the next person. It's like, come on, man. But let me ask you a question. What's the difference between what she said here openly versus someone who will never own up to it, but their behaviors speak for themselves?
I think with her is just with the clip, it was just a tonality. Like you said, it was like, and what now? So what? I did this. Like, I mean, she was trying to. It appears that she's trying to one up somebody, but again, I have to, what's the point of you trying to one up somebody? I mean, everybody has a past. Who are you, and what do you have to present presently and to the future? And then if somebody who doesn't talk about it, you're saying if they display that they got tendencies that they sleep around a lot or they have in the past, or what do you mean by the ones that don't talk about it?
So with her, she's pretty much open about how she was,
right?
Which to me is better and is easier for me to just act accordingly to what I'm dealing with, because it's more than likely that you're going to continue to move like that, because she don't sound like she changed at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Versus someone who is in your face or on social media giving out these wonderful speeches about chastity and I could never deal with a man like this, or I could never do this, and I won't accept this and I'm gonna accept that. But the whole time you are just like her. So the only difference is your behavior patterns show me what your words don't. She's telling you what she's doing. You're showing me what she was doing.
Yeah, I mean, if it again, it's just if it's in the past, it's in the past. I mean, unless it's something you asked about and then they denied it, and so now you got issues with, integrity. You got issues with people being honest and you know lying and stuff like that. So that would be the difference. The one person's upfront and honest about it, but if the other person is like you said, speaking as if that stuff is beneath them. I mean, if they're not still doing the same things, then I mean, it is what it is because that's in the past. But if they are still currently doing it, if that's what you're saying, and then they, you know, in real life they're actually still doing that, and online and in person, they, like you said, they're running around preaching the gospel, and that's something completely different. But then, hats off to the person that's being upfront and honest, brutally honest. That's the full transparency that you'll be looking for. But what's your objective with these two type of people if if that's the type of lifestyle that they have, so that's something you have to decide if that's something you want to deal with, or how you can build and move forward with that individual. That's completely up to you. They got ambition, so I mean, maybe if they put that that ambition into something else, then maybe you can build and start working on your empire. But it's completely up to the individual. But yeah.
I believe that when you decide to withhold information, it's like remaining in handcuffs, and you're the only person with the cell key. So you keep yourself in that cell block, pretty much restricting you from the possibilities of being with the type of people that you want to be with, because it's something very restricting about just keeping things like that away from folks. It's not even about them itself. It's like your own captive. Because if you didn't have anything to be ashamed of, then you shouldn't have a problem with divulging this information. If you're not that person anymore, then cool. I'll tell you, my history was trash too. But I'm honest about it because you're taking in a whole nother person, and that's dangerous when you don't have the same level of respect for them as yourself. It's kind of like putting other people at risk or in harm's way. You telling me that you done slept with this many people openly, I got you. That's one thing, because I can say, well, I ain't trying to be bothered with that, because you might still be fucking around with people, or you still might have connections with folks that you ain't done with, versus someone who they sit here and lie, or they say, why you want to know about my body count? Why you want to know about this and know about that? Well, maybe because you might still be in love with somebody. You might still be in contact with somebody that you like. Yeah, that's why there's I've had conversations with folks where they say there's always that one person that gave them the best sex of their life, and they'll always remember them for that. And I don't know, it's something very restricting about a person who can't let that stuff go. You're not really letting it go until you actually let it go, to me. So the conversation is about a woman who openly admits that she slept with, or she had a real promiscuous past. One woman says she slept with two people within a month. This woman says she slept with 20 people within a month. And my whole point is, what she said openly is what some women are not going to own up to. They live that lifestyle, or they've had that type of lifestyle before, but they'll never be honest about it. But they want you to forget about it because there's a reason behind that. When you could just be honest and tell people the truth about who you were before, so you don't give or rob somebody of their time and resources when they could invest it somewhere where they feel more secure.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a multitude of things. One, they don't know how to explain it, or maybe they don't think you can handle it.
But is
Go ahead.
but is that being responsible or selfish?
And it could be all of the above, man. Everybody ain't the best communicators, man. And then it depends too on how the other person is projecting themselves. If you carrying yourself like it's something you probably can't handle, then maybe they looking at it as preserving your feelings. I mean, it can be dishonest, and it can be erring on the side of caution as well. So but I mean, all you can do, if that's something that concern or worries you, all you can do is ask the questions, and if they don't want to answer them, then like you said, hey, that can be your sign or version of a red flag to disengage. So I mean, a lot of people don't. I guess it's something that a lot of people don't take a lot of stock in that. I guess some people brag about that. Some people don't. You can look at it as issues. You can look at it as experience, baggage. It just depends on how it's being perceived. So some people might not want to share all that information because they're worried about being labeled certain taglines or certain labels. So I mean, again, it comes with the territory, I suppose.
Isn't it kind of hypocritical though? Because them same people who refuse to divulge that information, they're going to do the exact same thing they're afraid everybody else is going to do. So you went through this whole history of horrible relationships and traumas, and then you went through a season of trying to elude or evade the proper process of healing, but you decide after a while of being away from people, you start to actually let folks in. But because of your history, you're going to hold everybody that you meet under the same microscope because of what happened to you. So it's okay for you to look at me like I was that person, but it's cool for you to keep all of your information from me, limiting me from the opportunity of doing the same to you.
Yeah, you just explained like three scenarios in one, man. So I don't know. So again, if you say one female or male is going through that experience and they don't want to share it, that's it is what it is. If you said they went through a process and healed, one of the things about healing is it could be a traumatic experience. It could be something that they don't want to continuously bring up again, and it's something that they forget about. But if they're still exhibiting the same behaviors, then that's something completely different also. So yeah, if they healed and they got past it, then they got past it. So again, it just goes on to which scenario of an example that you give. And so, but yeah, so if somebody's healed from something, you don't necessarily want them to go over the same thing over and over again. If somebody witnessed somebody being murdered, they heal from it. You don't keep asking them about it over and over again. Now you're using triggers and you recreate trauma. So again, it just depends on which angle you want to look at it and how you want to go about it. So if they haven't healed and they're still doing the same behaviors, then yeah, I completely understand that. Yeah, you want somebody to be transparent. If they're trying to hold you to a standard and they're not holding themselves to a standard, yeah, absolutely, totally agree. But yeah, just depends because you threw the word out there, healed. That's why I said that.
Well, all right. So this is the scenario. You're healed. The person that comes into your life, y'all both new to each other. You have to go through the courting phase. The courting phase is not just about asking questions. The courting phase is about actually listening and actually getting to know the person. But even in your healing, you take those lessons from your history and you apply it to the person that you're examining, because that's what we do. We watch your body language, how you communicate, all that. You're looking for red flags and everything of that nature. So based on your history as a healed person, you're still looking to see if this person is going to exhibit some of the same patterns or not. But the person that is on the opposite end of this courtship isn't being denied the same opportunity. That's what I'm more or less speaking on. Like, it's one of those things where I get it. You don't want to be triggered or you don't want to revisit certain things. But if you're healed, that shouldn't be a problem. And it's not even that the person that you're dealing with is trying to rub you the wrong way. It's the fact that they look at you as somebody that's going to be a part of their life for the long haul. This is a journey that they're signing up for. So you should be able to be free to express to them the same way you expect them to do the same. If you can't, like, if I'm just going to say it, if you can't reciprocate, that's a problem to me, because it's not equal at that point. Why am I pouring more into you than you are me? It comes off as selfish and controlling to me.
You say that, man, but everything you just said was controlling. So you just said you was examining somebody. If you're meeting somebody and you're in a relationship, I mean, I'm sure you're going to identify some things. But if you're examining and you're looking for red flags, you're looking for reasons not to be in a relationship. You're not even enjoying the moment. And an example or parallel would be if you go to a concert or you go somewhere and instead of enjoying the moment, you take out your cell phone and you're recording everything so you can do what? Post it online or watch it later. You're in the moment. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the ambiance. Take those things in. If you're courting somebody and you're in a relationship, you're trying to you're doing things naturally, organically. You're not taking out a checklist and saying this person scratched their eye when I said this. They might be lying. This person fidgeted in the seat when I did this. Oh, hell no, I don't like people that fidget. And you can do that. That's completely up to anybody to do anything in their relationships, how they meet people and communicating with people. But that stuff isn't naturally or organic. You're walking in with a preconceived notion of how you want everything to go, which is completely fine for anybody to do what they want to, but you're not going to naturally get any type of building relationship wise. It won't be natural exchanges between the two people, because a person can tell when somebody's being, as you said, examined, or it's almost like being critiqued as you're doing something, or nitpicky, which you have every right to do. But again, and somebody's going to share with you something when they're comfortable. And if they haven't shared, you can't pressure somebody to say, it's a timeline on when they should share something, which you can do it, but, maybe, again, have that conversation, because now you're controlling when somebody shares their emotions. You're controlling when somebody, feels their comfort level to share something with you. So, but that's the beauty of it. If you're in a relationship and that's the things that you want, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But when you start talking about the other person in that relationship, you can't control their actions and get a positive action. You can't it's like interrogating somebody and they tell you whatever you want to hear, and it won't be the truth. It'll just be whatever it is that you want to hear because you was applying pressure at that particular point in time.
Does the past matter? All right. Does the past matter? And two parts. Does the past matter? And if it doesn't matter, why conceal it?
The past, does it matter in a relationship? Absolutely.
Okay. So give me one example and one reason why it would matter.
Why the past would matter?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, just like you said, so and the past would matter. So if you depending on it, because again, it would be a timeline. All this stuff's not happening on the first sit down with somebody, right? So at whatever point, you can say maybe 3 weeks in, and you probing and you ask some type of questions, and then they're avoiding. Then that's when, like you said, a red flag goes up, and then I notice you're avoiding something, blah 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 blah. You know, what's the purpose? And then that's when, like you mentioned earlier, whatever happened in the past could be triggering something for them to pivot when you ask or when you do something. And then I think that's when you can ask the question, right? Because cause, effect, action, reaction, is to why they're pivoting or moving in that direction when you ask certain questions. And then that's triggered because the past is basically it's a large experience bank. Everything from the past is just your experiences that you went through, and that's who you are today, right? So based on your actions or reactions to what you're doing, I think, as you mentioned earlier, that's when you can engage and have those conversations. But again, it has to be, you hear this all the time. People say, a safe space where they want to share information. You know what I mean? And I think that's on who, the two individuals to make each other feel comfortable enough to want to share. Back in the days, remember, people used to be on the telephone all day long. You know what I'm saying? People be on the phone till 2, 3 in the morning. Nowadays, everything is so short. There's no buildup. So you're having conversations, you're cutting off half the words, you're trying to figure out what the hell people talking about through text messages, maybe a funny emoji, maybe not. And so when you get to the point where a roadblock where you're not continuing to move forward in any relationship, not just, an intimate relationship, then obviously the roadblock or something pops up, and then that's identify something in the past now that being guarded, or those boundaries that we keep talking about. And that's when, what I'm saying, you had that conversation. But if they don't want to have the conversation, then that's when you just, try to probe and figure out why they don't want to have that conversation. So the past matters there. And then where you pivot and which way you go from there is completely up to, the maturity level of the two individuals, and again, the comfort level of how they want to communicate and move forward.
True story. Just to piggyback off what you just said, there's a gentleman who gets friend zoned by a particular woman that he thought, given time, they would end up together. It doesn't happen. In this timeline, he's pretty much the guy that she tells everything to. Everything. Even the stuff that we're discussing here. Except for in this particular situation, she tells him that she feels sorry for a gentleman in her neighborhood that is down on his luck, and she moves him in. They're just friends. One night, she calls the friend zone guy and tells the friend zone guy, the guy that she let moved in, stole from her, destroyed her property, and puts hands on her. The friend zone guy, caring for her, gets in his car and drives 5 states over to go see her and to pretty much step in and protect her under the understanding that the guy is a danger and threat to her and her family. He goes and leaves. A month later, he finds out that the guy wasn't down on his luck, but the guy was actually someone that she was sleeping with, was actually someone that she actually cared for. But she lied about her past. She lied about who she really was and what she was really doing to the gentleman who drove all of these miles to go protect her, putting his life in harm's way over something that he really didn't know he was getting himself into. That is one of the reasons why I agree with what you just said, and one of the reasons why I absolutely have a huge issue with folks who say, why are you concerned about my body count? Why are you concerned about this and about that? Because you withhold information.
Can I get in here? Let me get in here.
Go ahead.
You lost me at somebody driving and trying to go protect somebody. Was he security? Was he a cop? Why is he driving to protect somebody? Why didn't he tell her to contact the authorities, call the police if somebody's trying? I mean, I don't understand. So again, it's we're talking about mindset. If whoever the friend zone person was, hey, you need to contact, call the police, or you need to call somebody. That goes back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, was trying to help people when you ain't the person to be helping somebody. You ain't why the fuck would you drive 5 states to go help somebody? You know what I mean? This ain't the movies. So if she would have you'd have told her to contact the police or contact somebody. Now you start the pattern of, okay, the documentation, the paperwork. Police been contacted. If you put hands on you and then come back and do it again. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's the right thing to do. So for me, these conversations don't even get that far, because you're talking about people making bad decisions on both sides, and now you point fingers. We're not talking about accountability. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about what ifs and bad scenarios with people making bad decisions, emotional decisions. And that's what I keep saying. So I don't necessarily get too far into the weeds of that, because identifying the bad decision that was made was somebody who wasn't the right person to insert themselves into so that person thought emotionally, because they were the friend, probably looking to, I don't know, play hero and go down there and put yourself in harm's way. Why are you putting yourself in harm's way? I mean, do you not value yourself enough? You're going to put yourself in harm's way to go do something like that? So we don't even get to the point or all that other stuff, because if that person contacts the local authorities or whoever they need to in that situation, now the road to get help starts to open up. Now the road, you understand what I'm saying? Because the police get involved, all these other people get involved. So now you're identifying the need for help. You're identifying what you're doing might not necessarily be the best course of action. The path that you're going down might not be the best path for you. You understand? Bad decisions by letting, you're right. They lied, but you can tell who the hell, I didn't even know these people. You just told me that. I already knew the outcome of the story. You know what I mean? So, so that's why it doesn't even pass my sanity check, man. You know what I mean? As soon as they said that, you let somebody move in, whatever the case may be, that's on you. You accept that responsibility for whatever it is that you're doing to let somebody move into your home. So you're making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. The so-called friend zone person, now you're an enabler. You're enabling all these bad decisions. And then you're mad because they're not giving you the right information. They're not being truthful. So you're enabling somebody that you couldn't see, not you personally, but you couldn't see that they were making the bad decisions. So you went on to make more bad decisions to make this situation or whatever the case may be worse. So that's what I'm saying. So you start talking about past and all these other things as people are contributing to, each other's making bad decisions. Nobody's holding each other accountable or themselves accountable. So that's what the real underlying issue is accountability. Before you start get to talking about people lying and people, the pattern is already built up before you even got there. So you got to identify all this other shit before you start thinking somebody's gonna tell you something about their past. You know what I mean? So again, it's just a toxic situation to be in altogether. You're using common sense and good judgment. You won't be in that situation. You won't be talking to somebody about their past. How many people they slept with, that they let somebody come in, slap the shit out of them, knock them upside the head a couple times, and now you coming in to try to save them. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even make sense, man. So again, we're talking about, accountability, making the right decisions in totality, not pointing fingers back and forth to see, you can't trust somebody because, you made a bad decision to drive 5 states away. That's insane. You know what I mean? But again, that's the type of reality that we live in. So we got to address the issues in, totality, not just pointing fingers back and forth, worrying about who's sleeping with somebody. What about the bad decisions that's made all across the board? You wouldn't even get to that point. So we're talking about red flags. You drove past all the red flags, put the red flag in the car and drove to the place that all the red flags was at. So again, that's why it don't make sense to me.
So I guess now we're at the part where, for the people that are watching or will watch, how do you prevent putting yourself in a situation where someone is, how do you keep both parties accountable, right? So look, don't fucking lie to me about your past. I'm not going to push you, I'm not going to press you about it, but don't put me in a situation where, because of your lack of forwardness with certain details, I'm in a situation, and on my end, I don't make myself look like a fool by investing or pouring into a person because I'm lusting after you, or because I just want to ignore certain stuff. But I also don't want to put you in an interrogation room either, but I want us to both come out of this winners at the end of the day. How do we move forward addressing folks who think this way? So again,
no, I got you. I think we all realize, man, we're in an environment that's kind of crazy. We all just trying to make it, right? So, and I think, when meeting people, well, it's all based on the mindset. Again, you're in a world now where everybody's meeting people online and they whatever. The conversation we already identified, we're beating the dead horse. The conversation is not necessarily being had. Just depending on the grace period that you give yourself and that individual. Because again, it starts with yourself. You can't hold nobody else accountable. You got to hold yourself accountable. And if you're holding yourself accountable in the way you walk, the way you talk, you're going to weed people out because people aren't going to want to be around you. That's the one thing. If you hold yourself accountable, you know what I mean? You hold yourself with standards and core values, the way you carry yourself, you're naturally going to weed people out. Because people, they're going to look at you and they're not going to want to be affiliated with it because they're going to start to judge you, say things about you. And then your aura is going to attract certain people. So look at the way you carry yourself and how you handle yourself, and then the type of people that you attract. Because again, that's what we watched that in the clip the other day with Ocho. He was like, don't chase people that you want. You know what I mean? More or less be around people that you attract, which is true because, again, it's holding the mirror up. When people look at you, it's kind of it's a mirror. They can see whether they can see themselves being around with you. They can see themselves whether they want to interact with you. They can see that when they see you. That's the first thing people see is whether they want to engage with you or not. And once you get that likability, that what is the similarities that we have, or the comfortability? Do I feel comfortable being in an environment with that person? And once you identify that, that's when you start getting into those other layers. But I think you gotta give yourself, some grace and give that other person some grace, because if you aren't strong communicators, or if you, like you said, if it's just strictly you're lusting, then once you get past that phase, what don't come out in the rinse come out in the wash. If you're not having that conversation, it's just going to naturally, organically happen, because your personalities are going to clash. You know what I mean? So, but if you find somebody that you want to be around with, then you just need to find those ways to start subtly having those conversations. And I think it naturally happens. And I think, for the most part, women want to have those conversations and engage, but depending on their environment, depending on how they was raised, some women get around men that are naturally dominant and they take the lead and they just naturally follow. Nowadays, you got women that want to be, quote unquote, A-type alphas, and they want to be in charge and probably can't lead their way out of a wet paper bag. But again, it's the grace period that you got to have. You got to spend time together, because you can't just figure it out. Like you said earlier, just sitting down and like you having, an interview. You don't sit down with somebody and be like, so what do you think, what's your best qualities? Why do you think you're here? Why do you think you're the best person for this relationship? You're not asking them kind of questions, man. It's not a job interview, but you can probe and ask some type of questions. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the most invasive questions, but, subtle things about, them, what they like, what they dislike. And if they don't know that shit, then that's probably a red flag for you to get up out of there, because a lot of people don't necessarily know what they like and dislike. It just depends on, again, your maturity level and what you want to see coming out of that relationship.
I agree. And to be honest with you, you don't have to ask a whole bunch of questions at all. Like, if the conversation is natural and it has that ebb and flow, it's going to just come to you naturally anyway. But you have to be very observant too. Like, just kicking it, talking shit in the crib, watching TV, bullshitting around, laughing, and it's just that. I think people put too much pressure on it as well. Like,
yeah,
like we humans, man. We bleed, we cry, we sweat, we get angry, we get triggered, we have outbursts. Some people can control it, some people can't control it. We put way too much pressure on being perfect or trying to retrofit to somebody,
Yeah.
So,
no, like you said, man, we're humans. The one thing you're gonna do is make a mistake, and you can't be scared to make a mistake, and you can't penalize somebody for making a mistake. You know what I mean? Just keep it moving. All right, you messed up. Identify that you own it. That's the one thing, is you got to own it if you do make a mistake, because that's what happens, and that's what triggers a lot of things. Is somebody makes a mistake, they don't want to own it. Then that's when the lying comes in, the excuses come in. You know what I mean? So even if you don't make a mistake, or like you just said, if that's your past, own it. Okay, you made decisions back then. What was you going through? What was your mindset like? Okay, that's what you was feeling. Are you still feeling like that? you know what I mean? Just simple questions, man. It's not rocket science, man. It really is just simple things. And a lot of people, man, they just want somebody to talk to and want to be heard. But a lot of times people ain't listening. Like you said earlier, you got to be listening. You got to be observant. And that's, believe it or not, man, that's just simplicity. It's the easiest part.
You would think so.
Right. Absolutely.
Like, that shit, like, the shit crazy to me, man, because I'm the listener. So you'll tell me that you done did some of the most wild shit. I ain't gonna judge you for it. Why? Because first of all, you gotta live with that. At the end of the day, you gotta make peace with that. You and the creator, just like I gotta do the same thing. Just because you did this, don't mean that you're that person now, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
We have a problem with treating people a way that they might not necessarily still be. It's as if once you were this, you're always going to be that. That's not true.
Right. That's facts.
And I can't do it. I could never do it. That's probably what keeps me isolated a lot of times from, not in a negative way, but I have to protect my peace in how I operate, because a lot of y'all be so one track minded that I can't get through to you, and I'm not going to try to. I'm not going to force it. That's something that time has to do and experience. I hear what you said. This happened to you. I empathize. Why? Because things have happened to me, and I know what happens when you go through that stuff. Your journey is different than mine, but I can empathize. You know, how you decide to move forward with people is all based on the communication and how you both come to the conclusion. Well, I thank you for being calm and peaceful and open to what I'm saying to you. Like, you didn't tear my head off. You didn't call me slurs and this, that, and the third. You kind of laughed with me. You kind of made fun of it. Like, I'm the person that's gonna be like, "Oh, you was out here sucking what? You was doing what? Oh, you was on that shit. I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna joke with you. I'm not gonna demonize you. Hell, I think the shit funny. Shit, I sit there and tell you stories about how I was out here and shit like that. Like, we can both cut it up. That's me. I'm not gonna stone you to death. Why would I do that? We both been out here fucking up. You know what I'm saying? That's how you create solid foundations in relationships with people. Whether or not y'all stay in the same direction or y'all go different ways. But I digress.
Now, all you can do, man, is plant a seed, man. That's it. You know, plant a seed, and one day it'll resonate. It just might not resonate when you're around. You know what I mean? But plant a seed, man, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? It's not your job to save people, man. You know, you got to take care of yourself. And then when you take care of yourself and handle your business, then that's when, the universe will start putting people around you. You know what I mean? Like-minded people on that positive energy or whatever type of energy you on. I mean, that's just the way the universe works. So you take care of yourself. Even on the plane, man, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody, your kid, your significant other, or somebody next to you. So, I mean, it's all the signs are out there, man, to make sure you take care of yourself, get your mental health going, get your spiritual wellness going, get your fitness on, you know what I mean? And then make sure you financially sound. And then after that, man, the gravitational pull, it'll start pulling people around you. And then you use discernment, and then you figure out, who you want to stick and move and, get some motion with. It's completely up to you. And that's the thing, man, is if everybody took care of themselves first instead of worrying about other people, the world might be a little bit better than what it is, man. But right now, everybody's trying to please other people, because a lot of people are hurt, and hurt people, they do hurt people, but they also are people pleasers because they're looking for that attention as well. They're looking for, something to make them feel better. So, it's just all about mindset.
Couldn't have said it any better. I'm glad you could make it to the stream this morning, sir. That needed to be said.
Nah, man. Yeah, I was trying to hustle over here, man. Get it in.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. I hope this helps somebody, man, because we too judgy, way too judgy.
Absolutely.
If you, like you said, focus on you, and then you probably you're more likely eliminate all the bad seeds. That's the ultimate message I got from here. But
yeah,
old girl, nah, I'm staying the hell away from that. Shit, that ain't no good. maybe for a couple nights, but
yeah, it's short term, you know what I mean, but not long term, man. You know what I mean? Get in and get out, but you know everything ain't good. Sometimes the best thing to do is knowing when to pass on something.
That part, especially shit. We won't have to spin a block on that. I'm gonna have to jot that shit down. No, everything ain't to be entertained, man.
Right. Just like they say, all money ain't good money. It's the same thing, same concept.
Look, bro, we about to get up out of here, man. Thank you again for being here this morning. Shout out to everybody who pulled up to the stream. Cryptic Creed Paranormal returns tonight. Yeah, it's been a while since I dropped one of those. Tap in. Sydney, her segment is tonight. The crew will be back tomorrow. But we about to get up out of here. Thank y'all again for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You know how to reach me if you need. Do me a solid before you go, if you don't mind. Peace.
Yep.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I am, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't run on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is